It's the Gauntlet. Let's go.
If you smell what the Gauntlet is cooking.
So, this is the Gauntlet. Yes, this is me, JB Ellis. I'm here. I got my man Eric Wilson, George Jones, Jake Malik, and John Shear here with me tonight. Wait, where's the other guys? Oh, that's right. Philly Jim, Mr. Suspended. No longer on any Sideline Sports Productions. After this week, Denzel Snipes is going to be taking charge of the show. That's it. Philly Jim, you're to the side where you belong, just like the Eagles. I'll be nice on the Eagles a little bit because they're Eric's team, but they ain't going nowhere. But we'll get to that later. So I see Denzel's there now. Yeah, you got promoted. It's your show. Philly Jim, gone. We own this show.
We own it all, baby.
Hey, JB, I tried to tell him. Philly Jim, I tried to tell you. It's about the 4 C's. It's about communication. It's about consistency. It's about the change that we are taking over Sideline Sports. And more importantly, Philly Jim, it's about the control, baby. You brought this on yourself. So you know what? We'll see you when we see you. You truly, sir, have embodied our network because you, sir, are on the sidelines. It's a beautiful Saturday, fellas. I'm so thankful to get to work with George, James, Jake, John, JB. Gentlemen, I can tell you, I'm in such a great mood tonight. I had to even break out my shirt very simply so everybody can see it. Just really quick. If y'all don't see it, listen, I get it. Listen, no one likes us, and we just don't care. So, hey, it is what it is. We got a jam-packed show tonight here on the Gauntlet podcast, the third best show. But now, since Philly Jim is gone, we going to bring us, but it might just be the number one show because we on it. Anyhow, let's jump right in, fellas. We got a lot to talk about here tonight on the Gauntlet podcast. First things first, as they do here, let's talk about, and we're going to get our man George back here in a minute. But while we got him dealing with this technical stuff.
I have a question, Eric. Hold on. I have a question.
Sure.
Is this what second place feels like? 8 o'clock on a Saturday night on the Gauntlet. This must be what second place feels like.
I guess this is what it feels like, John. I think you're right. Because
I mean, normally I'm used to first place on Tuesday nights at 8:30, but I mean, you know, you can't.
John, you're tied for first, man, because you got Tuesdays at 8:30, but don't forget you got Sports Arena Monday, Wednesday at 10
so this
PM.
would be third place.
So you, John, really? No, that's first and second, man. I give those two shows a tie to first. They are, you know, the flagship stuff. I mean, I know, Eric, you say we're the flagship show, and I appreciate that.
You
man,
are.
Those two shows run this network. That we know that. Listen, and you know why they run this network, Eric? Because we run them. Because we run this. Okay, that's what's up. That's the way things go. Okay, so remember that. So, John, this is not what first or second place. This is third place. Because when you got a tie for first, you automatically take that third show. That's third place. Okay, it may be a little better because we're on it now, as Eric so eloquently alluded to. But that's what it feels like to be in third place, John. Third place, not second, but third. They're not even. They don't deserve to be.
I feel like Emmitt
two.
Smith when he went to the Cardinals and he said, "I feel like a diamond surrounded by trash."
Wow,
you know, that's what I feel like.
John,
Wow.
this is what we do. See, we tee it up and knock it out the park.
John's ready.
John, this is it. So, gentlemen, the first docket item tonight here. Of course, as we know, it is the Sports Moron of the Week or Morons of the Week. So we're just going to simply go around the horn here. Start with my man, JB Ellis, at JB_the program. JB, who is, sir, your Sports Moron of the Week?
So mine is a whole organization, the Arizona Cardinals. What is going on there? We're going to put it in a contract, and then we're going to take it out of a contract that Kyler Murray needs to study the playbook for 4 hours on his own outside of the practice facility. Meanwhile, they have a coach that can't win in the second half of the season. And this is before they signed him. Weren't they 11-0 last year? Where were they at the end of the year and when the playoffs happened? Maybe I put the studying in his contract rather than Kyler Murray. But I don't know what's going on in Arizona. They take it out of the contract because, you hear some noise around the league and from Kyler. If you wanted it in there, stick with it. Hold your ground. This organization ain't going nowhere. Totally downgraded on them this year. I don't see them doing anything.
All right, John Shear, my brother.
Yeah,
Who's your
I have
sports moron of the week?
I have a little image before I get to my sports moron of the week. So, Jake, would you please cue it up?
Absolutely, my man. I got you. Give me 2 seconds here.
Sure.
I love this image. So, John, here you go, man. This is for you.
Oh, who is that? That looks like Denzel Snipes' body, or Jay's body. I guess we call him Jay. Is that Jay on the top of his head? Michael Jordan?
That's Michael Jordan,
Okay.
man.
All
That's
right.
how he feels right now, I think.
That's my sports moron of the week. I mean, this guy tries to come on our show Tuesday night, tries to take over, tries to play all innocent, but no, he's right in there with James. He's lucky he's not suspended too. We're being kind. We didn't suspend him. We're only suspending one at a time. My sports moron of the week, Jay, right there. We saw that image. That's mine.
Wow. All right, shots fired. My man, Jake Mallett. Who's your sports moron of the week, sir?
I couldn't pick one. I had two. So I'll piggyback back off JB real quick with the whole card situation. JB, you said it beautifully, so there's not much else to be said. But, yeah, the whole adding it to the contract, Kyler complains, and then all of a sudden, we're going to take it out. That was pretty bad. But the number one slot this week, and, John, you kind of alluded to it very beautifully, as always you do. There's nobody else. Then, Eric, I need your help. How do we say his name? What's his name here?
Oh! You mean you want me to say it's Philly Jim? Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir. It's Philly Jim, as you love to say. That's right. That man said, I'm going to come on Sideline Sports. These guys who brought me into their network, into their arms to help make them better, right? We said, let's make a team out of this. That's what we did when we brought them in. And what does he do? He comes on our show, a show that John, JB, and myself helped to create. And Eric, we added you soon after. And George, we've added you as well to make this show and this network better. And what does he do? He comes on and says, nah, we run this. I'm Billy Jim, and I run this, and I'm better than you. No. Absolutely not. I'm going to put him in his place right now. And, Jim, I hope you're listening, and I hope you're listening well, okay? Myself, JB, John, and Eric. We created this. We have put the work in on this, and I'm making it real clear. This is our show. This is our network. And I want you to hear this one real clearly, all right? You listening to me? We suspended you because we run the show. This is us, not you, baby. You work with us, not the other way around. Remember that now.
Nice.
I'm not going to piggyback off of all this with my sports moron of the week because I said what I said on your birthday, Philly Jim, that you just didn't have the control of this. Listen, you and your four horsemen, you eventually got to answer to the authority. That's us. So my sports moron of the week basically is the anonymous defensive coordinator who decided to call out Lamar Jackson, a man who has been every single year elevated his game to the next level. This is a young man who is loving the game of football. Lamar ain't chasing that money. Lamar is chasing greatness. And in my opinion and in my estimation, he will achieve that. There is no if. It is a when. So for the anonymous defensive coordinator who said, even if Lamar won 12 MVPs, I still would put him QB1, do me a favor. Take that old way of thinking and go back where you came from. Because the fact that you would not put your name on it, the fact that you would go so far as to insult this man, based on what? Based on the fact that you feel he doesn't have an arm? Based on the fact that you feel he hasn't won the big one yet? But all he does is win. And you're going to sit there and hide like most keyboard warriors and trolls do and not put your name on it? Come on. This is 2022. Get some gumption. Get some stones. If you're going to talk about it, then be about it. You, sir, are truly my sports moron of the week. I'm going to turn it over to our man, Mr. George Jones. George, who is your sports moron of the week, sir?
Well, my sports moron of the week is I'm going to piggyback off JB and a little bit off Jay. My sports Moron is the agent for Kyler Murray. They have set, African American quarterbacks back now by putting that in that contract that he needs to study outside the organization. Has made the black quarterback go backwards, because in the 70s and 80s they told us black quarterbacks were not smart enough to process information, and now a guy who they gave $230 million to needs to have in his contract that he should study outside the organization. I don't even know why they would even sign him if they're going to put that kind of clause into the contract, because that means you're forcing somebody to do something that they really don't want to do. And that's why I'm assuming later in the season he is not playing well and the team is not playing well, because if he doesn't play well, the rest of the team doesn't play well. So I know me and JB talked about him possibly not getting his money. He got his money just like the coach, but I think it was a bad move all around. Now, since they put that in the contract, and now they're backing out of it because it got on Sports Center, it got on all these other platforms, and everybody badmouthed it. It should have never got out there in the first place. If you was going to put it in there, but make sure you keep it quiet.
It's crazy how Kingsbury and Kyler Murray have the same exact agent. Do you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Right, that doesn't. But you know that Kingsbury has wanted Kyler Murray since he was in high school.
Oh, they're tied at the hip.
Yeah, they're tied at the hip. So, and you can see the contract pretty much is tied at the hip too. So, I think as long as Kyler Murray is there, and if he's playing well, I don't think it matters what the record is of Arizona. If Kyler Murray wants Kingsbury as the coach, by him being the franchise player, he probably going to stay there.
And that's why they'll never win a championship with those two together.
And you know what?
No.
That's why 3 people out of these 5 people on the screen in some way chose to mention the Arizona Cardinals as, or a extension, if you will, because George shows the agent of Kyler Murray. Right? In some way, it connects back to, though, the Arizona Cardinals. They're sports moron of the week. That says a lot. I know a lot of us think alike, but that says a lot. If we're all thinking, man, I don't know what you guys are doing, obviously they're doing something wrong. And just the whole situation is a mess. If you don't trust your quarterback and you feel like you need to put that clause in there, and I'll leave it at this, then don't re-sign him. It's real simple. If you got to put that in there, you don't trust him.
I have a question for George, since George is the only one of us that's been in the league. Look at Philly Jim's last comment. At least we know what he's doing with his suspension. He's trying to learn to get better. Some ideas for a show. But he's talking about Kyler Murray's, playing video games and stuff. But, during the week, don't you guys put new plays in the playbook, add things in film study all week as a group?
Yeah.
So if you could tell us what that's like, I appreciate it.
So when the beginning of the season starts, after training camp, the first 8 weeks, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you do a walkthrough on Saturday. So Wednesday is the biggest installation day. Like you put in the offense, you do all that. Thursday is the defense. Friday, you come together as a team, do some special teams, and then Saturday you do walkthrough. But through all that time, you're doing a lot of individual group work where you're just in the running back meetings, quarterback meetings, and in the NFL, you get Tuesday off every Tuesday. So, but the quarterback doesn't get that day off. He comes in, works with the offensive coordinator, and they come up with the game plan that's going to be the game plan for that coming week's game. So really, the quarterback doesn't get any days off. They're there on Monday through Sunday. But with Kyler Murray being at home, I guess playing video games or whatever, just think about it. Peyton Manning, I think he put about 20 to 30 hours a week outside of when he's at the stadium, when he's taking all these tapes and videos home to watch them and break them down, because there's not enough time in the day at the stadium to look at. If you're playing somebody in week 7, you got to look at all 7 games as a quarterback, all 7 third downs, all 7 short runs, the 2-minute drill. You got to look at every play, and you got to try to see a common opponent if you played that team and bring all that together. You know how much time it takes to go through 7 games and break it down to the science like that with every play every third down, every situational play. That takes a lot of hours. So 4 hours, even if they made him do it, 4 hours is still not enough. You should be doing that extra every day. 4 hours looking at film every day, not for a week.
Ooh, that's those. Wow, those are
Powerful
some
words.
intense words. Wow.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, he's not wrong.
And
though.
again, look, this is what great minds do. George teed it up, and we're knocking it out the park with our next topic, gentlemen. We're going right into who our player of the week is this week. And it is, in fact, the guy who some people call the sheriff, the Hall of Fame quarterback, Peyton Manning. So, George, talk to me. I'm going to go right back to you, sir. Talk to me about Peyton Manning. We all decided he was going to be our player of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about him.
Man, I'm honored to be able to talk about Peyton. I think, in my opinion, now this is me, he is the greatest football player. Raise him up. That's me. Now, most people would say, well, what about Tom Brady, this and that? I'll go into that later. I just like everything Peyton stands for. I just like the work ethic, the competitive drive to want to not let anybody outwork you. Just think about it. This is a man who came from football royalty with his dad, Archie. He was the #1 player in high school in the country. Follow that up, go to Tennessee. All the quarterbacks get hurt. They got to throw him in as a true freshman. He played there for 4 years, live up to the hype. Then going into the NFL, getting drafted by the worst team, and then you turn Indiana from a basketball place to a football town, all because of that one man and the things that he brought to that organization. If you guys remember, before the games, he would be out there with Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, and all the guys, and they would do like 300 or 400 pass plays just running on air before the game. So once the game starts, it's just like pitch and catch because they've done it so much. And I don't know if a lot of you guys know, Peyton Manning scripts like his offensive plays and scripts the defense to, like, let's say if they were playing Baltimore Ravens, Peyton Manning would tell the defense exactly where each player should be on each play so it can simulate what's probably going to happen in the game. If a person tried to do something differently than what Ed Reed would do, Peyton will correct them to make sure they do it right because he wanted to make sure to simulate games the way that the opponent was going to play. And I just have the utmost respect when it comes to football because he wasn't the most athletic. And if you think about it, just think about when he went to Denver. The nerve loss in his right hand, he was beating people from his brain. Ball out. 4 guys come their break, and he had the greatest statistical season in 2013 when he broke the touchdown passing record. This is a guy where the team he was with, Indy, said the doctor said you can never play again, and he come back a couple years later and have the greatest seasons that any quarterback could ever have. So for me, Peyton is the greatest. He will always be the greatest. And the work ethic, that's what I like the most, the work ethic. Because I think your work ethic would take you further than potential and all this athleticism. If your work ethic is there, it's going to get you further than all the other stuff. Because athleticism, over time, like we were just talking about Lamar Jackson, Eric, over time, Lamar Jackson will not be that fast, that quick, that elusive as he gets older into the league. So now he's going to have to start to learn how to play from up if he wants to continue to be in the NFL because he can't keep this year. He hurt his ankle because he took off running all the time, and he cost.
We saw what happened with Cam Newton. I mean,
Absolutely.
Cam Newton lost his athletic ability because of injuries, and he couldn't recover.
Yeah, I mean, so you look at. So I would say if Peyton never had that neck injury and had to get his neck fused, and if he would have fixed it in time, I bet you he'll still be playing just like Tom Brady.
Could be.
Wow. The desire to win by Peyton was just amazing. You know, he just put the work in, and the level of knowledge and skill. You know, you don't see that in every type of player. It's something that's special.
Here's what I'll say about Peyton. for years, much like Lamar, he had obstacles that he had to overcome. It was, can Peyton win the big one? Can Peyton get to the Super Bowl? But one of my best memories of Peyton Manning was the one thing that was still left for him to do throughout his career was beat Tom Brady in Gillette Stadium. And I'll never forget watching that Monday Night Football matchup where he actually did it. The commercial that they played for Peyton Manning as he was about to truly cement his legacy of beating one of the great quarterbacks, if not, in some people's opinion, the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady. I'll never forget that commercial because it was like winning MVP was one thing. Winning the Super Bowl was another. Beating Tom Brady on a Monday night was priceless. And it was a MasterCard commercial, but I'll never forget that. But that speaks to what you were saying, George, just about his work ethic, just about his desire to be the greatest and to take, with Peyton Manning, there was no plan B. It was, I am going to be a Hall of Fame Super Bowl champion MVP quarterback. He's done that.
Yeah, Eric, I will piggyback. I don't know if you guys saw the game. So Tom has beaten Peyton more in the regular season.
Yep. It's 10-5, I think.
AFC.
Tom. Yeah.
So if you look back at that one game, I think it was the AFC Championship when they was playing in Indianapolis, and the Patriots went forward for 4th and 1, and they threw the ball to Kevin Falk, and he came up short. Do you guys remember that? And then, and then took the team downfield, scored the touchdown, won the game. And they asked, Bill Belichick afterwards, why did you go for it? And his answer was, we could not stop number 18.
I was going to say, if they give him the ball back, too bad.
So that's the, like you just said, Eric, that's the ultimate compliment from Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, who are two of the greatest to ever do it at their position, that you're saying we're going to go for 4th and 1 and give them a short field to possibly score and win the game because we're afraid our defense is not good enough to stop him because we haven't stopped him all day.
That's the ultimate compliment. You're right. And
John, Jake, go ahead, share your Peyton Manning memories, if you will.
You guys talked about his work ethic. I mean, I look back at his rookie season. I obviously I wasn't alive to watch it, but everybody knows it's very notorious what happened in that rookie season. It was, to just put it bluntly, it was horrible. He had one of the worst rookie seasons anybody could have ever had. And for a lot of quarterbacks, and doesn't matter who you are, to have that kind of season, it's destroying your confidence probably.
Yes.
That's got to be hard as anything. And it doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or if you're Daniel Jones or Zach Wilson. I don't care if the greatest or if you just play in New York and you kind of suck, let's be honest. Okay? I don't really care what you are. All right? Either way, it's really hard. And for him to say, man, I don't know if I'm going to be the greatest. I just got to try to improve for the next season would be one thing. But for him, that goal never changed. He said, absolutely not. I'm improving by the next season, and I'm getting way better. And he did.
Yeah.
And he threw for over 20 interceptions in his first season.
28.
Right. But the important statistic, I was just looking this up, and I found this really interesting. Over 20 interceptions in that first season. Never again in his entire career did he eclipse 20 interceptions in a single season. Not once. His rookie season was bad. It was, for a lot of guys, that's a confidence breaker, and you may never see them become anything, just a huge bust when you have that. For me, that is one of those things that will always stand out is he turned it around, and he never had a season like that again. He just went forward and forged one of the greatest legacies you could ever have.
And Jake, the great thing about that, I'm going to piggyback off you, he had that terrible season. They were 3 and 13.
They were terrible. Yeah.
The following season, 1999, they went 13 and 3, beating the Cowboys in one of the biggest games of the year. That year in 1999. So he did a 180 in 1 year with having the worst record to having the best record.
And he showed what he's really about.
Yes.
I love that about him.
He helped make – I don't think Edgerrin James is ever a Hall of Famer if Peyton Manning isn't – if Peyton Manning's not running that offense. Not that Edgerrin James wasn't a really good running back, but if Edgerrin James was almost any other team, he probably never makes the Hall of Fame. Not a discredit to him, but I think what Peyton Manning did with that offense, the throwing it through the air, I think that allowed Edgerrin James to have a lot of lanes, have a lot of holes. So I think Peyton Manning has helped turn a lot of guys into Hall of Famers that maybe Reggie Wayne's probably not a Hall of Famer if he doesn't have Peyton Manning. I think Marvin Harrison would have been, but I don't think Reggie Wayne or Edgerrin James would have been Hall of Famers, in my opinion, if they never had Peyton Manning. That's
Not
just
at
my
all.
guess. But so another story that I've heard, and I'm sure we've all heard, was I forget the defensive player's name, but he was a linebacker, and he was talking about how Peyton Manning went up to the line in the middle of the game, and Peyton told the linebacker, he told him what their defense was running, and the linebacker was like, basically like started changing the play, and Peyton changed it and told him like during the audibles, like, this is what you're running, and I'm going to beat you. We're going to beat you. And the guy was just like, you know what I mean? I mean, if a quarterback tells you what you're running and then you change it and he tells you again what you're running, and then he goes and beats your ass, like,
what are you going to do?
That's the ultimate like disrespect to another athlete.
Yeah.
It's, hey, calling their shot on you and doing that. So like stories like that are just like I mean, I've never heard a story about Tom Brady or any other quarterback doing that to a defender. Only heard that story about Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning's one of a kind. And the forehead, too. I mean,
real quick to piggyback off that, John, you kind of went where I was thinking with his ability to call audibles at the line. I don't think I've ever, not even Tom Brady, not Drew Brees, nobody. I don't think I've ever seen anybody be able to read a defense and change on a dime like it's nothing. I don't remember. I've heard the story a couple of times before. You know, coaches were just like, go do your thing. Not all the time, but they had such trust in Peyton that he would see the defense and they're like, look, we're going to give you a play, but go call whatever you want. I don't really care. Basically saying, look, we have our full trust in you because we know you're going to read the defense, and it doesn't matter what they try to do. You're going to see every change. You're going to be able to know exactly where they're changing to and what they're doing. And you're going to know how to slice them up like it's turkey on Thanksgiving Day. You are going to just do everything right because he was so incredible with what he could see on the field.
So question on that, Jake.
Unmatched.
Do you think it's his the ability to study the teams, or do you think it's just his natural ability?
I think
nobody's been able to do it like that.
I think it's both. I think to some extent he always had a natural ability to just, see it and, put it two and two together pretty quickly. I think that's one of those things, but I don't think there's any question that's how he studied. Of course it is. There's not even a question in my mind. Absolutely how he studied. He obviously read those defenses, watched their films, saw how they did things on the field, saw how they maybe audibled on the field for themselves, right? When they saw a type of offense, they realized, oh, okay, let's switch it to, instead of a 3-4 or 4-3 maybe, right? Whatever they might have changed. I'm just making it up as we go, right? He knew that too because he knew these teams like the back of his hand. He was unbelievable.
And whenever I played Madden as a kid, I mirrored what he would do with the audibles. I made that my game plan, and I would drive my opponents crazy because I would get the play clock down to like 2 seconds.
That's a good way to do it.
Audible the entire time based on what they did, and I would audible, and then I would call hike, and I would drive them nuts, especially if I was playing in person. They're like, stop calling audibles. You're going to get me off sides. I'm like, that's my game,
plan.
Man.
That's the way to do it.
So I mirrored my game after him. And
he has somewhat of a photographic memory. I don't know if you know that. When he was playing with the Broncos, I don't know if anybody knows this. When he was playing with the Broncos, he called the University of Tennessee and asked the guy to go back and look at a play and send it to him. He knew the play. He knew where in the game where the play was so he could put it in the Denver's offense. And the guy was like, I don't even know how he remembered this. He knew the exact wording of the play, where the play was, where in the game where they threw it and all that. So I think just like some guys, the memory, the photographic memory, the good Lord and his parents, Olivia and Archie, they just gave him something that he can recall a lot of information quickly and keep it stored and not forget it. So, I mean, that's just remarkable to be able to do that.
Unbelievable what he could do.
And let's not forget about
one
this.
Of a kind.
Peyton Manning is a middle child.
Yes.
He's not the oldest or the youngest. He's the middle child. You know what I mean? And for all the talent, all the work, all the skill, just truly, that is why he's our player of the week. All right, we got to pay some bills. We're going to take a break. More with the best Gauntlet podcast crew you folks have ever seen. We will be back in just a moment.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
And welcome back to the Gauntlet, live on a Saturday night, part of the Sideline Sports Network show. Your man, Eric Wilson, man, let me tell you, this has been such an amazing night. It's a beautiful Saturday evening down here. I'm looking out my window, the sky, it's a beautiful sunset. Plus, you know, I got the fellas with me. I got the program, JB Ellis. I got my man, Jake Malik. I got Blue Hawk 13, John Scheer. And, of course, former NFL running back, Mr. George Jones in the building. Man, gentlemen, I am having so much fun. Can I just tell you, I don't think I've had this much fun in such a long time. I mean, listen, no disrespect. We got some great shows, and y'all saw them all. You got Monday night, the Sports Arena. Tuesday night, you got the Sideline Sports Show, the flagship show. Thursday night, you got Pundits Pundit. You got Three Chicks in a Pod. You got Basket Bros. You got the LinkedIn podcast, which, by the way, I have to talk about this really quick before we go. So, Philly GMC, you thought you were slick because you were suspended as of Wednesday, but then you going to show up on the LinkedIn podcast, the Eagle Show with Lindy on Friday. James, I'm telling you right now, that mistake won't happen because I'm coming on the LinkedIn podcast. See, the one thing that you and I do have in common is we are both Eagle fans. And right now, that's fine. We're going to fight. That's what we do. But, James, again, I have to tell you, Philly Jim, you are on the sideline, my brother. We done put you on the bench. We done put you on the shelf. And that's where you going to be for the time being. All right. Let's move on,
Eric,
gentlemen.
Can I take the floor for just one moment?
Please.
We play that video. And again, as Eric, you say it so well, I'm trying my best to feel a jam. Sir, I need to remind you of one more thing. That video is exactly what I tried to get at earlier. There's two things on that video I think you need to remember, sir. Number one, that video at the very beautiful beginning in the middle, it says Sideline Sports Network, not the Gauntlet Podcast Network. It doesn't say the LinkedIn Podcast Network. No, Sideline Sports Network. Why? Because we run this. And number two, when you watch the video, I want you to notice something the next time you watch that, okay? When you watch that, what's the last show to appear? What's the last one that ends in the middle? The most important one being saved to the end? Is it LinkedIn? No. Is it the Gauntlet? No, Phil Jim. It's Sideline Sports because we run this. This is ours. And I hope you get through this in your head, man, because you got to remember who's the boss. You got to answer to me.
You just
to
like
Eric,
saying Philly
to John
like
and
that.
JB. Oh, I love saying it. It's great. Eric does it the best. Look, Eric is the best about it. I can't stop him. And you know what, James, man, I see you commenting. Look, this is the last thing. I was thinking about this as you've been commenting. Get a new argument if you don't mind. Just do me a favor. Feel the gym. Get a new argument because I know I'm a Giants fan and you're an Eagles fan, and I get Giants and Eagles go at each other. That's cool. I get it. I'm all for it. I love the verbal jabs. I'm all with that. Come up with a new argument other than my Giants suck and you do stuff about the Eagles. And you do a lot more than that, man. Come on. You got a suspension on your way. You know, you've got all this time ahead of you. Figure something out. Because I don't just come at you with my Giants stuff. I come at you with Giants, how they got more Super Bowls. I come out with you how I own this network. I come out with you more stuff than that. Just
how many Super Bowls the Giants have? How many? Four?
Four.
Right. How many did the Jets and Eagles have together?
One.
Wow.
Two.
Two.
Yes.
Two.
We still
One
double
each.
them. So we double them. So Eagles fans.
I just want to remind him. And Eric, this is no slight towards you.
I get it.
As an Eagles fan, this is not towards
He's wearing
you.
an Eagles hat and
it.
an Eagles shirt, and you're taking shots at his Eagles.
No, but John, here's the difference.
It's got to be the.
John, here's the difference. I get it. I understand. We can't argue what has happened. We can only take and grow from it. And I think some people, such as Philly Jim, I think he's still stuck in from 5 years ago. Listen, no one appreciates our first Super Bowl championship, I think, more than myself. Any chance I get to say the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl 52 world champion Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to say it. But I have also elevated myself to that next level. And we have more stuff to talk about. So let's keep it moving here on the Gauntlet podcast. So a while back, the other members of the Gauntlet and Philly GM, they decided that they were going to break down the AFC West. Well, I watched that episode, and I don't think they really did it justice. So we tonight here on the Gauntlet are going to break down and give you our expert opinion on the AFC West. Now, listen, last year, Denver 7-9, the Chargers were 9-8, the Raiders 10-7, and albeit the AFC West divisional champs, Kansas City Chiefs at 12-5. Some additions, some subtractions, departures, as we'll call them.
Yes.
But John, I want to start with you. When you look at this division right now, sir, give me your prediction on where you think these four teams are going to finish come January 2023.
I can't give you a prediction yet, Eric, because I got to save that for August 8th. Those predictions are saved for August 8th. I don't know exactly how the records are going to pan out, but Chiefs aren't winning this division. I'm telling you right now, everybody's picking the Chiefs because they got Patrick Mahomes. You lose a 3-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, Chargers upgraded. You're not winning this division. You'll be lucky if you finish in second in this division.
John coming out hot.
Book that. You'll be lucky if you finish second, but the Chiefs aren't winning this division. They're lucky if they make the playoffs.
So who is winning, John?
Chargers.
August 8th.
Chargers are winning that.
Oh, Chargers. That. Okay.
Wow.
John is saying the Chargers are going to win the AFC West. Wow.
They always Charger, but this year, by default, they win the division. Because nobody comes close to them in that division. By default. The Broncos are a joke. The Raiders, half their players will be in jail again.
They brought it.
And then the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill. Come on, man.
And they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league with Herbert. What are you talking about? Herbert, what are you talking about?
That's why I said they're going to win the division.
By default, you said.
By default, you said. Yeah, that's I think where he's taking a problem with.
Yeah, that's like, they're just going to happen to win it. No, they're going to win because they're the better team.
JB,
hold on. JB, you know what that's like? And Eric, I'm not picking on you. That's like either the Eagles or the Cowboys winning our division by default because two out of the four teams have no chance at all at winning the division. Either the Eagles or Cowboys are winning. The Giants and Commanders have absolutely zero chance in any world of winning the division. So that's what that's like saying. Okay, the Chargers don't just win by default; they would win because they earn it. If you said the Eagles or Cowboys win by default, that's a little more fair. They still have to earn it, but they have a better chance, placing top two by default because the rest of the division is garbage. They're the only teams that are worth watching. So that's a little disrespectful to Chargers. But I want to go back to JB first. I want JB to be able to give his predictions on this division before I go. But I just wanted to comment on that, John, because that was disrespectful. That was just
definitely not by default. They brought in the best defensive guy they could have brought in, bringing him back. Their defense is really phenomenal. It's only getting better. And their offense, forget it. They're going to win this division by 2-3 games. They're going to put a smackdown on teams. 14-3.
Wow.
But 14-3, they're going to go.
All right. Well, what's the rest of your division looking like? What's the
race for second? The race for second is going to be interesting to see what happens in Las Vegas. I just don't think that they're going to come in second. They're going to make the playoffs as the third place team in that division. The Chiefs are going to eke them out and get second place. The Raiders are going to be right there all year. They're going to blow a game against the Raiders and against the Chiefs, and it's going to cost them second place. But all three of those teams are going to the playoffs. Denver bringing in Russell Wilson, great move, but it ain't going to help them this year. Maybe next year if they make some more moves to go with that. But they're just going to be the why are they there? Sorry, Jordan Love.
Wow.
Wow.
Coming out swinging
So we
again.
got two. I'm making sure I write this down. We got two gentlemen right here on the gauntlet saying that the Los Angeles Chargers, are going to win the AFC West. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yep.
Just want to make sure.
Home field advantage in the playoffs, too.
That
Okay.
means nothing for the Chargers.
All
Literally
right,
means
fair enough. Before we get to
14
George,
wins.
Jake, go ahead. Give me your prediction, sir.
I think you guys are sleeping on somebody, and I'm a little disappointed. Now, first of all, this division is the best division in football. I don't think there's any question about it. You put any one of these teams in another division, they're guaranteed to make the playoffs.
Mhm.
Just a fact.
I disagree.
These four teams are all playoff caliber teams with their
Disagree.
rosters. But fourth place, it hurts, but I'm going to say it. I don't care they add Devontae Adams. That's nice. But I think the Raiders coming fourth. I don't know that Derek Carr is the right – when you stack up the quarterbacks, he's the worst quarterback in the division. Now, granted, being the worst quarterback in what I believe the best division is not a negative thing. It's not like he's bad. I just don't think he can get it done. In third, I don't know what you guys are on tonight. The Chargers are coming in third. They're a great team. There's no doubt they're a great team. But again, when you are third in one of the best divisions, if not, in my opinion, the best division in football, that says a lot. They're still going to probably win 10, 11 games easily. So I'm not calling them bad. I'm just saying it's a stacked division. Now, the one thing I agree with you gentlemen on, Chiefs aren't winning it, baby. Chiefs are coming in second. And there's two simple things that they don't have that I believe the Denver Broncos have. The biggest thing that they lost is Tyreek Hill. But more importantly, that Chiefs defense doesn't scare me at all.
All right, Jake.
And
I'm
they
putting,
lost-
I'm putting
Hey,
a
hold on,
clause in
hold
your
on, hold on.
contract that you have to study 4
Hold on,
hours a week
hold
because
on.
this you should
Hold
be in
on, hold on.
timeout
Let me
for that
finish.
ridiculous.
Let me
putting the-
finish. The other thing
Wow.
that they lost, which is one thing that I think the Broncos have a bit of an advantage, actually, is defense. On the defense, the Chiefs lose their best player on defense, Tyrann Mathieu. When you lose the Honey Badger, that's going to hurt. That's not easy to lose. That's not like losing for the Giants, a guy like Xavier McKinney. If the Giants lose Xavier McKinney, I don't really care. He doesn't do anything. He stinks. The whole team stinks. That's a big loss. Okay. The Broncos had a good defense. They added to that defense with Randy Gregory. I think everybody seems to forget they added Randy Gregory. But more importantly, they added Russell Wilson. The reason this team wasn't very good, in my opinion, had always been quarterback situation was garbage. You got Russell Wilson. He can help run this offense well, and that defense does the job. Russell Wilson doesn't need to go out and win every game. He needs to play well, which he will obviously do. That defense is a great defense. I think you guys are sleeping on them. You had already a strong defense with Bradley Chubb at the helm of that defense. You add Randy Gregory, that's pretty fun. I'm pretty scared. I'm going to say it's going to be a tight division, no doubt, but I'm giving it to the Denver Broncos this year. Give them more credit.
Wow. Okay. All right. Fair enough. George, before you go, I'm going to be quick about mine because, like John said, shameless plug, August 8th on the Sports Arena, we will break down the AFC West and give you our predictions. But here's what I'll say, and I just cannot, in good conscience, choose anybody to win this division as long as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are still coach-quarterback combination. I have the Chiefs winning this division, and it's not by default. It's because of what we've seen so far. This team, mind you, at one point last season was last in the AFC West. Last. Let that marinate for a moment. And they still made it back to the AFC Championship game. Okay? That's what Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid do. What I will say to you is this. I think coming in second is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders for one reason. Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is bringing 20 years of Bill Belichick experience over to the Las Vegas Raiders. Mind you, when he was in Denver and had to play New England, did he not beat up with Tim Tebow? Did he not beat up on Tom Brady and Bill Belichick? What did Bill Belichick do after that season? Oh, no, Josh, you got to come back. We need you. Well, you got to come back. I can't have that happen. Now Josh is gone. The Raiders are going to win. I'm sorry, they're going to come in second. And see, my third, listen, I have always loved Russell Wilson. That's my cousin from like third, fourth cousin removed. But it's very difficult to give him the nod when I've seen what Justin Herbert has done. And I really feel like third place is going to come down to those two teams. If I have to pick one right now, because we are doing this and I want to get to George, I'll give the nod to Justin Herbert based on he's played that division and knows those teams, even though there have been changes. So for me, it's Chiefs, then the Raiders, then the Chargers, then the Broncos. George, go ahead, sir. Give me your picks.
Well, at number 4, I'm going to say Denver. I'm going to piggyback off what you said. With Russell Wilson, he is an upgrade at quarterback, but he doesn't know how this division works. He doesn't know how, the other quarterbacks are. So I think you got to give them a year for Russell Wilson to get used to the division, and then they will be able to contend the following year. Number 3, I would say tough one. I'm gonna say the Chargers. The reason why I'm gonna say the Chargers is the head coach. I just think with all these analytics and the stuff that he follows, he always, whether they're on the other side of the 50 or on the back side of the 50-yard line, he always goes for it on 4th down. And I think that cost them some games last year. And I think it cost them that big game against Kansas City when it was at home. And the records were pretty tied up. And Kansas City ended up having a better record than them because of winning the head-to-head. And I say the second will be the Raiders. And I think it's because of Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels will get Devontae Adams to buy into the program. Devontae Adams is not going to have a career year like he had every year in Green Bay. He's going to buy in to what Josh is going to do, because Josh is going to want to throw short passes, gimmick passes, get the ball out of quarterback hands pretty quick like he used to do with Tom Brady. And my number 1 team, just like it was for Eric, is the Chiefs. I can't in good conscience go against Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and Patrick Mahomes. I just can't do it. And if you guys go back and look at the statistics, when Tyreek Hill didn't play, Patrick Mahomes had his best games
for 4 games.
Small sample size. You gotta do what you got.
Yeah. So he was forced to look for other guys, and I think this year he won't be forced to look for the home run all the time. Those checkdown. If you look in the game when they lost to in the AFC Championship to the Bengals, that play right before halftime when he threw the ball in the flats to Tyreek Hill and then throw the ball out of the end zone to get that field goal, that hurt them in losing that game.
That was Mahomes' fault.
Yeah,
that was all Mahomes' fault.
That's what he's saying.
That's my point. He trying to get it to Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill is such an explosive player. He's like
a safety blanket.
Hill in one-on-one space, I'm expecting him to beat his guy. And he didn't beat the guy that time, and it cost him 3 points. So my looking at this is
he had no chance of beating that guy too. I mean, he was like a yard off, the end zone. Like he had no chance. He had 2 guys on him as soon as he called it.
Exactly. And if you went back and look at the rest of that game, there were a lot of guys open all the time. And he just didn't see them because he was going to 2 guys 90% of the time. Now he's going to be forced to look at the whole entire field, which will make him a much better player. Will they score in like 13 seconds? No. But they will be a more efficient offense, and he would turn the ball over less. And as far as the defense, Jake, when you said about the Honey Badger, I think they made an upgrade with the guy from the Texans because he's younger, more athletic, and he's bigger. Because if you look at it, the Honey Badger had a hard time in coverage all season. So I think, again, with Russell Wilson and all those guys coming in, I just think with the experience of Patrick Mahomes, Eric Bieniemy, and Andy Reid, I just think that alone will have them to win the division.
I think I'm about to suspend all 4 of you and put you with Philly Jim because you
What
guys.
about me? What did I do?
You guys, are not seeing the Chargers at 14-3. You guys are all nuts.
No.
Easy win
I
for the
said they were winning
Chargers.
the division. Get out of here.
14, number 1 seed in the AFC. I don't know about Super Bowl bound just yet, but I'll see you guys in January. We'll talk about that. That's all I'm going to say.
JB, when has Khalil Mack played a full season? When was the last time?
Different when you're in LA.
No,
That's not what he asked.
Your
That's not what he
your
asked.
body-
Oh, yeah, don't
Hey,
deflect,
hold on,
JB.
Remember, this
hold
guy was
on,
a
hold on.
politician. Don't listen to
Hold
this
on.
guy. He tries
Time
to
out,
deflect
time
all
out.
the time.
Give me
The
2
body
seconds.
reacts
Hold on.
differently to cold
JB,
weather.
JB,
Yes.
how does weather affect how he plays? I like, and what I mean by that, how is that going to affect his ability to not get hurt? I don't understand that at all. That makes
In
no
cold weather,
sense.
your muscles react differently.
Warm weather, you get cramps. What's your point?
exactly.
Cramps are
You
different. Just have to
you-
stay hydrated. You stay
Right, but-
hydrated.
Fellas,
No,
do me a
no.
favor. Save this for the flagship show on Tuesday night.
Okay.
We got about 6-7 minutes, and we got to get out of here. So
Okay.
our last topic of the night, which as they do here on the Gauntlet, non-sports topic. If you could eliminate one subject from school, whether it be elementary, middle, high school, or college, what subject would you eliminate? And we're just going to really quickly go around the clock again. I'm going to start with George and work my way around. So, George, you, sir, are first. One subject you would eliminate, which one?
I would eliminate statistics because in high school during that class, one problem took a full page to do. I mean, it was just crazy just to do that subject. So if you're asking me, statistics will be what I would get rid of.
All right, JB.
Algebra. Pretty similar to what George is saying. Listen, if you give me a problem, I'll solve it. But X and Y are not math. Numbers are math. So let's get that crap out of there.
That's great.
John Shear.
Science. I have to go with science. Now, if I get rid of science, does that just mean like we get rid of gravity and things like that, or I'm just getting rid of the subject
You
itself?
just get
We
rid
got
of the
rid of-
subject.
we got rid of
John.
gravity?
I want to make sure.
Get rid
Well,
of-
John,
I mean, if we're getting rid of science, then we're just
Oh, my
eliminating
Lord.
science altogether.
no. We're
right,
just
I'm just
saying you don't
asking.
have to learn it. That's the point.
Look, I took physical science 3 times in high school. 9th, 10th, and 11th failed it. Took my 4th try in 12th grade, passed it. Now I know, we're not all James
4 times a
Tatum.
charm.
We're not all that smart, but just saying, like I would get rid of science. I mean, he probably would get rid of gym class because he's not that athletic, right? I mean, I would beat his ass in sports
Ooh.
medicine. I don't know.
John coming out
Ooh.
hot today.
I just had to
All
throw
right,
that
Jake.
in there.
Jake,
Man,
which subject are you
I
eliminating?
gotta get rid of the language, and I'm gonna keep it real because there's a good reason for it actually, and this is true based on science and studies. You are most likely to learn a language and retain it properly at a young age when you're 3, 4, maybe even 5. When you're trying to teach somebody when they're, let's say, middle school, high school, college, you're talking about 10, 11, all the way up to your 20s. People don't retain it. I'm going to tell you this in full confidence, and I don't care. I took Spanish. Starting, I think my first Spanish was in 4th grade of elementary school. I took it all through middle school, all through high school, and I took 3 years of it in college. I do not remember 99% of what I've learned in Spanish class, and that is almost 10 years probably worth of language, maybe more. Yeah, almost 10 years. Yeah,
Wow.
I learned all that. I don't remember anything. Why? Because you have to learn it at a young age. It's that simple. I don't think people retain it properly. So just
Yeah, I
get rid of
agree.
it. Just language as a whole. Just get rid of it. If you want to do it on your own time. Don't make it a requirement in school. Don't
Yeah.
torture us.
I agree.
Wow. So for me, if I had to eliminate any one subject, and I'm going to go on the high school level, if I could have just not had to deal with, and Lord forgive me, but I'm going to say it, I had to deal with, it pains me, but John hit the nail on the head. Science class. Man, I was in biology. I was intro to physical science. I took some chemistry. I had no desire to mix, hydrogen with this and that, trying to make a combustible element. I just had no desire. You know what I
I'm
mean?
with you.
Yeah.
Like the simplest thing is 2 things of hydrogen and 1 thing of oxygen to make water. And we couldn't even do that. And I'm like, the cutting of the fish. I mean, the starfish and dissecting a frog and all that. It's not that I have a weak stomach. I'm just there were better things that I could have done with my time. So for me, if I could, John, I'm right there with you, brother. Me and you could have skipped class all day long. No science for me. I'm done. I didn't even need it. Gentlemen, this has been arguably one of the best shows I can say I have been on. I want to say thank you to George, that Jake, John, JB. This has been amazing. And again, Philly Jim, we tried to tell you, you didn't listen. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess stay tuned next week. Jay Nelson, Denzel Snipes, whatever you're calling yourself these days, brother, you the man running the show. But just to let you know, the members of the Sideline Sports leadership team, we will be checking in on you from time to time. So don't get it twisted. We still run this. And Philly Jim, I'll see you soon, my brother. Everyone have a great night.
Real quick, Eric.
Go ahead, sir, as we close it out.
Just one more thing. Everybody that's watching us, just because we're on Saturday, I want everybody to remember this moment. Just because we're here on Saturday, we're that good. We'll see you again on Tuesday. We'll see you in just a couple days because to the gym, as Eric, you just keep saying it. It's so good when you say it, my man. But when he took over our show last Tuesday, that was disrespectful. Never going to happen again. We'll be back this Tuesday. The correct crew. Not that to the gym, whatever he wants to call himself, whatever he thinks he is. The bosses will be back. The right people will be back on this Tuesday. And the regularly scheduled programming, the content you guys look for will be there. And we can't wait to see you guys on Tuesday. That's